Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am cleaning up a mess from going east, and then I get the fun of fixing this Jeep behind me. So it looks like what happened is, on my way heading out east, my wife was going to a doctor's appointment and the radiator cracked right there. It's coming out of the plastic tank. And so I got a new radiator, and then I watched a couple of videos, and it looks like the ones I've seen so far say you need to remove this grill to get to all the bolts on the front and to release these. Obviously I don't have to do that to release these, but if you see right here, there's not even enough room to put a finger in there. This grill isn't going to pop off with this winch on here, and you can't get this winch out of here without removing that bumper. I have no intention on doing any of that. I have heard of people cutting that tab in there so that they can slide the bumper up. I mean, not the bumper, so they can slide the grill up out of there. That'll be a last resort. So I figure I'll go ahead and record part of this, and maybe I can come up with some tips out there, or I should say some tips that are not out there that I've seen anyways. And then of course, you know, you want to drain the antifreeze. The petcock won't come loose, and I can't really get in it this way, and I don't know if it's easier if you have a factory bumper on it, but I figure I'd show that. Now I got to take all this stuff here off. I'll probably go ahead and spray this area down first, because antifreeze was spraying all over that. And I wanted to try to drain as much as I could outside before I headed into my shop. Because, as you know, if you've done any kind of automotive repairs, you can drain everything possible. You're still going to dump stuff on the ground. So I prefer not to get a big mess in the shop if possible. So if I can't get the petcock to come loose, then I'll pop this upper and the lower hose, but the lower hose goes into the middle of the, right over there, it goes into the middle of the radiator over there, not the bottom, so there would still be fluid in this. So I figure I'll just go ahead and record part of it and see if I can find some stuff to help people out. I have one of these. It's powder coated, and I just haven't put it on. Apparently I need to get this powder coated, or at least put some paint on it. Other than that, that Badlands winch has been holding up good. I did have to put some paint on this because this is like a pot metal, and that started corroding instantly. And this was right behind it. I'm not sure if this one had their powder coat on them, because the one I bought to have powder coated, I noticed had a clear powder coat on it. But I'm not sure if this one did, because if it had a clear powder coat, it shouldn't have corroded that fast unless it's not a good powder coat. I don't know. So I had one powder coated black. I just haven't got around to putting it on there yet. Anyway, I'm rambling now. So I will go ahead and get started. I will bring you back when I find some things to help other people with this situation. Hopefully I come up with some. All right, here we go. Get started. All right, so one thing I did is when I took this stuff off, I ran the hose in here, and I got that one. You can't really see it down there very well, but anyways, kept the cap on, put the hose in here, and I ran all of the antifreeze out of this. And then I took this rag, put it around there, and I blew air in there to blow as much of the water out of that as I could, so that once I'm in the shop, whatever I spill on the ground would just be water and not be antifreeze. So you can do that out here, try to catch all the antifreeze you can, and then go in the shop and you're just dealing with water. And then I took the heater core hose off and I ran water through that. So I flushed that out. That comes out of the lower hose. And then I ran water in this. That comes out of the lower hose. And then I ran water in the lower hose, and water comes out of this. Just kind of back flushing everything. So everything's rinsed. It didn't look too bad. And this, you can't get any flow through there because you have the thermostat in there. But this bypasses the thermostat down here. So then just kind of washed everything off. I have a little bit of an oil leak on the oil pan, so try to clean that off while I'm at it, while it's in the shop. You know, I'm gonna do air filter and change the oil and filter, of course refill all the antifreeze, go over the other fluids, lube, all that stuff, do a general maintenance, check things out while it's apart and while it's in the shop, and get it all topped off and hopefully have her back up and running before too long. But that's the tip I have at this point. So we'll go ahead and continue on this project, and I'll bring you back when I got something else to share. All right, here's something that I noticed. See, this has this one bolt hole up there. It's got these two down here. Well, this thing here, let's see if I can give you a little more light there. So this thing here has two on the bottom and one on the top. And this slides over it, and that would fit up there like that. But this one has a spare tab on it for some reason. It has two right here. So I guess what I'm gonna have to do, turn this so you can see. Still not very good light. Anyway, there's two of them right there. So I guess I'll have to cut a hole in this rubber piece right below that upper one, and then that'll allow this to go back on the way it's supposed to. So far, that's the only thing I've noticed that is different. But I'm going to study this side real close now and see if there's anything else that I can find, and go from there. After that, I'll be able to start installing it. Those match. Those match. 1, 2, 1, 2. Those match. Got the side pieces. Got the side pieces. Yeah. Okay, so that's the only thing that's different, is it has that one extra tab. And this was cracked. There's no way you'll be able to see it in the camera, I don't think, but it was cracked from all the way up here at the neck down. It stops right there. That whole spot right there is cracked, and that's where it was leaking from. Okay, I'll cut a hole in there, and then I guess I get to start putting it together. Alright, so I was able to get the air conditioning condenser back on the front of the radiator where it's at right now. I can kind of move it around a little bit to get things lined up. So the holes in, or the tabs that have holes for all of these attachment points don't have threads in them. These bolts cut their own thread. So that works great until you're trying to do one right here and you drop it. I dropped it twice. I dropped it the first time and it fell on the ground. picked it up, no problem. This last time I dropped it and I cannot find it anywhere. I did not hear it hit the ground. I've looked all over in the Jeep trying to find it. So trying to get all of these lined up and then trying to get them in these to get the screws started was a little bit of a pain. Those tabs might be off just a hair, or that might be the way it always is. But like this screw here, I put the factory one in at first, and it was a little bit crooked. But it's screwed in. It's the only way it would go in. This one's already snugged. There's no more movement. So I hunted and I hunted and I hunted. I'll probably come out in the morning and find it. So I need to have 2 of these to hold the fan on the other side. And they got the washer, and that's something that I figure it's better to have a factory bolt with the hex head on that side. I dug through everything I have. Closest thing I found was this stainless steel sheet metal screw. Is pretty close to the same diameter. The outside of the threads were almost identical. The inside of the screw was just a hair smaller, and the threads are a little bit more open. But there's a screw right there also. So I figured this was a better option to do this one than to do any of those others, because if you lose them, I don't want one corner coming loose. This here has screws there and there. So next, I just gotta wiggle it and jiggle it and do all that to get all this stuff back in here. Get those rubber pieces dropped into these holes right here. That's what holds the bottom part of the radiator. At the same time, I gotta have these pieces that are over here out of the way. Get that all pulled in place, lined up so that this lines up with this location here, so I can get the long screw in there. So I will probably play with that tomorrow. This is getting late tonight, so that's where I'm at. I'll show you a little more tomorrow. Good morning, we're back in the shop. So last night I got the radiator in. I think I showed how I had this free. It's back there, and there was one screw that I dropped, and I had to make another one. Well, I woke up this morning with a aha moment. A little, almost dropped the camera there. So the area that I put that screw, when I tightened it up, so that radiator goes on there like this. Let me show you what we're talking about. So the radiator goes on, and that tab sticking out on the side right there, is what holds the side bracket. And then that tab sticking out right there is what holds the forward part of the air conditioning condenser. So what I noticed is you get all these screws started. You don't tighten any of them down, of course, until you get them all in. So I have them all started, and then when I had to change this one out because I lost a screw, I was screwing this in, and I was watching it's actually pulling the bracket in a little bit. This hole doesn't have any more room to move that way. So what it made me think is these two are putting it in a bind, which made me wonder about that contributing to this crack. Although that pressure's all down here and the crack is from here up to here. So maybe not. But this morning I just went, I wonder if that's a contributing factor. Should I take it apart, back that screw out, put a spacer in there, and tighten it back up? Well, I already got it back together. And the vehicle's got 150-ish thousand miles. So it's probably not something to worry about. But it made me think. I would be curious to know if anyone out there has had that same exact issue, and if that condenser is a contributing factor, or if that's just, you know, something that happens. Maybe there's some Jeeps out there that don't have air conditioning, so it wouldn't have that condenser, and you know, maybe they crack in the same spot. Maybe it's just a thing, unrelated. But it made me wonder. Anyway, I just wanted to touch base on that. I've got things together. I'm doing an oil change at the same time here. So while it was so open, I wanted to do the filter. So I'll be hooking this stuff back up this morning. And then I will start pouring fluid in it. And see if there's anything else that I learned along the way. And if I do, I'll bring you back and show you that. If not, I'll bring you back to show you the thing running. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell in the video, but I've got it parked where the radiator cap is the highest point. It's kind of parked up in the front, and the passenger side is up a little higher than that. So this radiator cap is just a hair higher than that, so that it can bubble everything out. So I've gone for one heat cycle on it so far. I checked it. It was down just a little bit. I put a little bit more antifreeze and water in it. I'm going to do that a couple of times just to make sure that I don't got no air bubble in there. I've got the bottle filled. It's not quite to max, but so this fluid is kind of weird. This was the Mopar fluid for this vehicle year, and it looks orange in the bottle, and then when you start pouring it, it kind of looks orangish pink, and then you can kind of see in that bottle there, I think you can see in the camera, yeah, that kind of looks pink, which is interesting because I remember the first original fluid being kind of orange. So maybe they changed the specs. I don't know. I went to the dealer. That's the fluid they said it takes. Anyway, so far it looks good. Changed the oil, put a new air cleaner in it, topped off all the fluids, checked everything out, and so far so good. I'm just going to go through a few heat cycles before I send her on her way by herself on a long trip. So we'll just do a couple of local runs. If we do something far away immediately, then you know, I'll go with her and take extra antifreeze and water and tools in case there's an issue. But it looks like everything's good. Got the new radiator in there, and the radiator's from O'Reilly. It's a Murray radiator. They claim that it's a lifetime warranty as long as I don't go off-roading with it. So, shh, don't tell no one. It's on a Jeep. Anyway, looks good. Comes with a radiator cap, 18 pound, which is what they require on this year. And everything's looking pretty good. I'll just keep, I'll do 2 or 3 more heat cycles, make sure it's topped off, and then she should be able to drive it anywhere she wants. All right, well, I hope that was helpful to someone. Just a couple of tips in there that I haven't seen on the internet that might help out. All right, we will catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Really helps the channel. See you later. Okay, something that I didn't mention throughout the video is I was able to get all this off without loosening the radiator or the grill. Granted, if you didn't have this stuff in the way, you take the clips out all the way around and you pop this thing off, and it would make it easier. But I was able to get in here and pop these off, and use some extensions to reach through I pulled the radiator away before I took the air conditioning condenser off. Same thing when I put it back together. So it was back out of the way, so I had a little more room than to maneuver. But in the end, I did not have to take off the grill, and it worked out fine. It's got some miles on it now, and it's been no problems. All right. Thanks again for watching.